Any questions about what I've talked about?
I would like to know, is being spiritual always being religious?
Being spiritual and being religious.
Being spiritual and being religious.
What's your definition of religion?
Religion to me is a form or a structure which you have to follow. Spirituality to me is a practice of a being which does good to others in being good within. So religion to me is a form of practice which generates spirituality. But let's say if you don't practice a religion, you can practice spirituality, don't you? Don't you think? That's a question that's always on my mind.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, because to me,
But
religion helps faster.
No.
No?
no. If you practice a religion, you base your spiritual practice on a religion. It is structured, and there's accomplishments, there are signs and road signs, and there is a 1, 2, 3 steps. So if you practice spirituality according to a religion, you will have more definite accomplishments at a time that is controlled, meaning how much effort you put in to this practice, you'll get the result. For example, if you get into a car to learn how to drive on your own with no one telling you, eventually you'll learn, but with a lot of mishap. Whereas if you go to a accredited driving instructor and driving school and they teach you how, 1, 2, 3, 4, afterwards, without mishap or with no mishap, you'll be able to drive. So similarly, you can drive with an instructor or without an instructor. So if you go through formalized, structured religion, it will be much easier for you to be spiritual. Because being spiritual is much more than just doing good for others. Doing good for others we can debate about for days, because doing good for others are on many levels, inner, outer, and secret. Many, many levels. So just by doing good for others and using that kind of new age term, doing good for others, also becomes a form of laziness and hiding spiritual practice. Why? If we do spiritual practice or do spiritual practice according to a set religion that's been proven, there are saints, there are masters, there are people who have achieved in that. Whereas if you say just by being good, what is that? It's an open definition. There can be some danger in it. What kind of danger? The danger of not doing enough, the danger of doing it not complete, or the danger of making something up. For example, if we do some spiritual practice from ourselves, are we confident that we can create the spiritual practice that will bring us to enlightenment? Why? If we can, why do we even need to do spiritual practice? Why do we even need to do spiritual practice to bring us to enlightenment if we are enlightened? So if we are enlightened, why do we need to do spiritual practice? If we're not enlightened, how can we devise something that's good for us, that we are sure that it's foolproof? For example, if I wanted to be spiritual, I wouldn't make something up myself and grab a little bit here, grab a little bit here, grab a little bit here. I would actually pick something that is formal. Example, education. I would go to an accredited school that I know that they have created these type of educated people. So I know that my 5 years or whatever is for sure. I'm giving you an example. So being spiritual is following a set of practices that is proven that it will work, as opposed to just free-floating here and there. Because New Age practice grabs a little here, grabs a little there, grabs a little bit here, grab there, and put it together, and it becomes a mishmash. It can be good, it can be damaging, but it's not complete. Example, today, you don't see any New Age teachers that are world-renowned. None. None. Why is that? Why is that? The path cannot be accepted or proven by anyone or disproved. It's just left. So your question is, can I be spiritual? And you define spiritualism by doing good for others. It's much more than that. Much, much more than just doing good for others. Much more than that. If you say it's that, animals can do good for each other also.
No.
Doing good for others.
It would mean more than that, being spiritual. Okay. It will mean...
What would it mean to you?
For me, being spiritual will mean that whatever are your actions, it must come from within, And it must be very well thought up in the sense that you have to be responsible to whatever action you take or thoughts you have, whereby you are responsible to the consequences and people are not.
That's spiritual?
That is the
That
beginning.
sounds more ethical.
Yeah, that starts with, I think being spiritual starts with that. And as you continue practicing
Don't think you have to be sure, my dear. You have to be sure or else you'll be wasting time your whole life in your spiritual I think.
You know, if you keep on practicing it, you reach different levels of that kind of a nice
Are you
feeling.
sure?
For me, yes.
Absolutely sure.
Yes.
So can you achieve enlightenment from that? Can you make sure that you will end your cycle of existence from that?
Not,
you make-
not yet.
No,
Still
I didn't
not
ask you yet. I asked you, can you eventually from what you're doing?
I believe it can be done.
Why is that? What proof do you have?
The proof is my being. I feel much better with myself, with the people around me.
That can come with age and maturity, not necessarily spiritual practice. That can come with acceptance of over time being mature.
True, but that kind of acceptance is avoidance. Is
No,
like,
my dear, no.
No, like it
Not
is-
avoidance.
It's like different because I'm more matured. The new world is different from me. That's it, you know. But for me, I accept it as it is. It may not be what it was for me because I believe in a life in 3 time zones: the past, the moment of now, and future. And for me, the only thing that's real is now.
The only moment that's real is now. That's a wonderful, sweeping statement. But it was created from the before. And the moment creates the future.
Yeah.
So if you say the only moment that's real for me now, that's
Yeah.
absolutely in debate, not debatable. Why? Past, present, and future is simultaneously real. Why? You exist from the past. Due to the present, you will exist in the future.
Right.
So therefore, existing in the moment is not existing in the moment. In the way you're saying, existing in the moment, meaning realizing the moment and what you feel and experience come from experiences from the past and your reactions. If that's not rectified, not everybody can have your moments. For you living in a great country, having a good job and having a good family, you may be able to say, oh, it's wonderful, I'm all right, I'm spiritual. What about everybody else who's not in your good situation? So your religious application will not apply for the general public. It will not be pervasive. It'll be only for a certain class of people, you. Why? How do you explain other people who have to work 10 hours a day or are poor in India? How would they practice your form of spirituality?
Okay, like let's say for instance, even however good your life may be now, there must have been something in the past that's not nice.
Correct.
And if you hold on to that, in
It's
this
not-
moment,
No,
let's
no, it's
say
not.
an
It's not holding
instant-
on.
No.
You're getting the whole thing wrong. Holding on
Yeah,
and purifying is different.
right. I
So
get
if
that.
you hold on or don't hold on is not the point. If you've done something good and bad, it's not a matter of whether you hold on or not. It's applying practices that eliminate that so it doesn't arise and hamper your existences in the future. It has nothing to do with holding on.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing it is not
Yes.
holding on. So that means great masters who see the faults of others do not hold on to it. They apply the methods and give them the methods to eliminate it.
No, it's for me. Let's say.
But it's
If I
not
have-
just about you.
Yeah, but you know, for spirituality, within yourself, it must happen.
But you're saying spirituality, then you say me. It's two different spectrums.
My spirituality,
Your spirituality.
my growth.
Sounds like somebody I knew 2 years ago in Dameikong.
Yeah, you know? No, my growth spiritually.
Your
My personal spiritual
Okay.
growth must come from me.
it must come from you,
Yeah.
but you must have a correct path and source to follow from you. If you don't have a correct source to follow that's been proven correct, even if it comes from you, it won't be correct.
Right. That's
So,
why I
therefore-
asked, must religion be associated
Therefore-
to spirituality?
Therefore, I said yes to you in the beginning.
You say you can become spiritual without
I
religion.
said you can be spiritual without religion. Then I
Yeah.
asked you the next question, can you achieve much more than that? Because I asked what your definition. Your definition is just be nice to others.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more than that, as I was telling you. So, to answer your question, you can be. That can is iffy, unprotected, not sure, and can be wrong. Why? Not proven.
Right.
Not proven. So can we reach a level of spirituality on our own without religious practice? Being nice to others is not necessarily spiritual practice. Being good to others is not necessarily spiritual practice. Finding a way to end suffering permanently is spiritual practice. And let's add one more level. At finding and applying a method to end permanent suffering to oneself and to others is real spiritual practice. Why? Then you're achieving a goal. Simply being nice to others is not spiritual practice. It's just a method to achieve spiritual practice. It's not spiritual practice in itself. Why? Being nice to others will not necessarily bring liberation or freedom or release from suffering. As you said earlier, because you might have done something in the past that's not very good, no matter how good you are. That's correct. Why? Because you've had many lifetimes. Many, many lifetimes that you were born in states that you do not remember, that have collected many types of karma that can manifest. In this life, your thought will help you because you have the merit to have your life, and it's pleasantries. But my idea to you is but that will not pervade for everybody in this world. Why? Not everybody has the opportunity like you. So if you say to me that being nice to others is spiritual practice, it will have to be just for you. It will not apply to everybody, because not everybody has that kind of luxury to practice as you have. So it will only apply to you. Therefore, if it only applies to you, one person, is that spiritual? Because spiritual is not about one person. It's about liberation for everyone. You understand that?
Yeah.
Does that help you?
Yeah.
You are very eloquent. And you're a very good debate partner. And I enjoyed your question. Oh, yes, I did. I enjoyed your question because it makes people think. It made me think. It's a very good question. You have
Thank
other
you.
questions?
No, it's just that I also realized the difference between urgency and impatience.
Very good. And what's the difference, May?
For I am very impatient.
Join the club. I'm not being humble. Join the club.
There was a moment in my life, I said, no, I'm not impatient. I'm just being urgent. I get things done, you know. And I face the fact that I'm very impatient.
What does impatient mean?
What must be done now. What
At your
at
convenience.
my speed, at my convenience.
At your convenience,
Yeah.
not even speed.
I tricked myself, you know. I said, you are not impatient. You're just being urgent. You want things done. But actually, I'm very impatient. Things must be done quickly, at my pace, if possible, even my way.
Your way is not a problem. Your way is not the definition of impatience. Impatience is fulfilling one's own need to rush people just for yourself, for your own. But if you rush people to do things for them, or to train them, or to help them, or to help the greater mass to rush them, that's not impatience. Impatience is totally selfish or selfishly imputed, which means method does not define impatience. It can be done your way. Why? You might have more wisdom and more experience to do it, so your way will win. So that doesn't generate impatience. Impatience is at your convenience, for your own pleasure, for your own need, not relevant of anybody else. That is impatient.
Oh, then I'm not impatient.
Good.
Then
Very
I'm
good.
only urgent.
Because my teachers make me rush all the time in the past. Hurry up, do this, and I realize what they're doing.
Because I do everything for myself by myself.
Good.
I love myself.
I believe you.
I make love to myself.
I believe you.
You know?
I hope you stick around 2 years later, because it's going to be very interesting to look back at this.
It bothers me between urgency and impatience.
Good. Now be urgent. Time is short.
Yeah.
Now be urgent.
Yeah.
Be impatiently urgent.
Okay. Wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you for asking. Thank you for
Thank
opening your
you.
mouth. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy.